We are going to make use of our time here on the 830 High Beam to talk with Tuscarawas County Sheriff Orvis Campbell, who made his way in through the snow, although not that much snow, but thanks, Orvis. We appreciate it.
Good morning, Brad. Good to see you.
You too.
I stuck you about a week ago. I didn't make it here, so I want to apologize to you and all the listeners.
We knew you were feeling under the weather, though. So.
Right. Yeah, that we'll leave that as a good excuse, but there's still some level of absence of professionalism. I didn't get word to you quick enough, so I apologize.
Not a problem. Well, I never argue with a man with a badge and a gun.
Well, that's good, because I was going to tow your car if you sold me out on
That's what
radio.
I was afraid of, yeah. So, Merry Christmas, by the way. We're to that time of the season, and I wanted to ask you, as the sheriff, I'm sure there are trends that go along with the seasons, and you guys try to anticipate what might be a problem, but what kind of things are you seeing in Tuscarawas County?
Well, there are a few trends with the season, and they're all things I think that the public would expect. One is we get some desperation crimes this time of year. We start to see, things like robberies. We recently had an armed robbery down in the southern part of the county. We were fortunate. That was a Guernsey County resident. We got in custody that night. He left quite a trail of evidence for us, which was good. We knew it would be easy to catch because he was wearing a Michigan coat on the video when we saw it. So when we saw that Michigan jacket, we knew that we had him.
That narrows it down.
That's
doesn't it?
right. That takes us right to the level of intelligence. I'm just kidding. But we have that, and this time of year, although cars get stolen all year long. And typically, a lot of the car thefts today are they go with drug addiction. Mm-hmm. An individual will take a car, use it to go to Canton or an area like that. We'll often find those cars up there abandoned. But this time of year, it picks up even more. People are starting their car, warming up. We do have a population of people who I wouldn't say that. Although we do have some homeless people that are sleeping outside throughout the county, they aren't typically the problem, but we have this group of people who are addicted, who are bouncing from place to place, crashing wherever they can. Mm-hmm. And it just seems like car thefts are definitely up this time of year.
Well, like you said, it's cold, and so sometimes the keys are in and it's running and unlocked.
It's running and unlocked.
That's an invitation.
And it's just a simple, jump in it and go where they want to go. It's a lot. It seems to beat that. So, we encourage people to keep those cars locked. It's an unusual thing, but when it comes to your home break-ins, burglars have no problem forcing your door in. I mean, it's always smart to lock your door, but honestly, a burglar is going to come in if he wants to come in. But with car break-ins, it's about the opposite. We rarely get those situations where they're breaking open the locked cars to smash out a window. That creates a lot of noise. Now, the exception to that rule is out in some very rural places. Like, we'll get cases out, say, at Dundee Falls. That's a very remote area where there's a parking lot. Mm-hmm. That's an area where we'll find windows smashed when someone parks in a lot there. But typically in a neighborhood, we don't find that. We find that they'll just move on to the next car because so many people leave them unlocked. And they just take whatever's there as a matter of opportunity. We've also had some cases of individuals where there has been signs of someone sleeping in your car, just using it as a place to sleep for a while. So, I mean, it's definitely a good idea to leave those cars locked. That's a big problem. And then we continue to have the catalytic converters stolen, which is a difficult thing for someone to be prepared for. Your car can be locked up tight, but if it's sitting outside, these individuals take these battery operated Sawzalls and they slide underneath and they can have these things off in seconds. We had a call here, I think last weekend, where an individual was at a bar. They felt they had a little bit too much to drink, so they walked over 2 doors down as a hotel. They decided that was the prudent thing. They left their car in the bar parking lot. Mm-hmm. They come back the next morning, catalytic converter's gone. Start the car, it's loud. That's a difficult thing. In those cases, we're just trying to look for any video evidence and see what kind of thing we can do. But
we did discuss, though, that they're perhaps looking at a new law to make those harder to sell, right?
They do, and those laws all help. But we have to make sure that the individual and things like that. We've struggled with that in the past. I mean, we try to work with the scrap dealers here in the area. We do inspect some records. There are some state databases now, and then there are some databases which allows us to, once we catch somebody in the act of those things, that prohibit them from selling anything. So they're on a prohibition list, and the scrap dealers have to run those to make sure that they're permitted. So once we catch them, but the prices that they're getting for those things is just absolutely ridiculous.
Isn't it like $700-800?
$700-800 to $1,200 for a used catalytic converter because of the metals in it. So it's an unusual thing. And we've worked some cases. We worked one not long ago. It's been a few months, but that was multiple counties. The same guy hitting multiple counties, and we raided his place and took bunches of them. That was out of Newcomerstown. So that was a good case. And these individuals, they really become experts at what they do. If you've seen a video of them doing it, they can slide under a car and be back out in just seconds and have that thing off. So it's not a lot of risk for them, but an awful lot of reward.
Right.
So, that, and then, this morning we had the snow, and people this year, I shockingly did not realize that snow is still slippery. So we had some accidents on the road right away. And I joke out of it.
Minor though, right? Today.
Minor. We haven't had anything significant, but every year, that just seems to baffle our mind how, I don't know if it's just bad planning that people just cannot get themselves out of a routine to leave at the exact minute they always leave. But it's amazing to me that, the crashes that we have. We got a few school delays here in the county. We have one cancellation, Sandy Valley up in northern part canceled, but I think we have 3 other schools delayed. But other than that, when I first logged on this morning, we had a few crashes on the board, but it was nothing major.
So one more holiday-related question. Are we falling victim to so-called porch pirates, which steal packages that get delivered? Because the deliveries are happening a lot more, especially since the pandemic.
Yeah. Our calls on that have not gone up.
Good.
So, I think that a lot of these individuals now, when you order something, you get immediate notifications it's been delivered and get an email of a picture on it. And I think people will take care of that a little bit more. I tell you, we still have an increase of individuals who are getting scammed via phone. Very aggressive stuff where an individual will call and claim that you owe money, and he'll obviously have access to some sort of database. It may have some of your family members' names, and just threaten to kill them. It's a you'll pay me or I will kill your family. And they typically speak broken English. They typically, I spoke to one not long ago, and he admitted to me he's not even in the country, but he'll get here, and anything to intimidate these people. And the other day I saw that a resident in the county that was not taken by our office lost I think nearly $8,000 because they were convinced their grandson had gotten into trouble and needed some money from the police. Those kind of things. We do not do that. We just don't do that. And it's devastating to us when people get victimized. But, this is how terrorism is funded. These individuals, this money, there's virtually no possibility once it clears to get it back. They're operating from, third world countries, and nobody's going to go over there and get your money back. And it's just, you're talking about spoofed IP addresses. You couldn't track them down anyway. So even the feds couldn't if they wanted to in many of those cases. Now, once in a while, we do get lucky. We recently had, an identity fraud scam, but the types that we're able to solve typically are crime of opportunity, a family member, a neighbor, somebody that takes something. We recently had one where, a credit card was obtained in somebody's name, and we were able to track that down to a family member and get that down. But the ones that, as soon as it leads us to, to Africa, or somewhere like
Right.
that. It's
gone.
Yeah, and it's very frustrating to look at people and go, folks, I'm going to do a report for you to show you're a victim, help you with your credit, but there's really not much that's ever going to happen.
Yeah,
We've had people that gave over 6 figures.
Yeah.
Those types of scams.
Just don't do that.
Yeah, just don't do that.
So everything's good at the office. The grand jury says the jail's all up and running and cool.
It's funny you bring that up. Today is the state jail inspection, a full inspection of the jail, which will be a very lengthy process. But today an inspector will be in all day long. There's nearly 200 standards, and this is the first time as sheriff you're getting graded on all of them. So he'll be in going through stuff. We've got boxes of records for him that they then take back and go through in our policies and match our practices and make sure that our logs match our policies, make sure that we're up to snuff on all that. Tomorrow is the grand jury inspection. So that is taking place tomorrow, and that every term the grand jury comes through. They receive a tour, but prior to coming, they are given some instructions by the county prosecutor, Ryan Steyer's office, on what they're to look for, general cleanliness. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they're not in a position to do in-depth inspections,
right,
but they do go through and inspect whether they believe the jail is a healthy environment for people. And each term of grand jury is required to do that, and then they have to submit that written report to the common pleas judges, and it becomes part of our permanent records. So that's done multiple times a year. And then, of course, you ask if we're okay. Well, this is budget season. So we've made our budget presentation to the Board of Commissioners, and we work hand in hand. Once I have my budget, I'm the elected sheriff. I have full say in what I do with my budget. Mm-hmm. However, I get my budget from the Board of Commissioners. Right. So it's really a close relationship where if I'm making changes, I need to communicate with them, and they need to believe in those changes. I need to convince those of things that are necessary if something's going to be more costly so that they can try to invest in us. They've historically, I can go back 3 sheriffs, Harold McKimmey and Walt Wilson and our boards of commissioners have been wonderful to deal with. So
that's great to have that relationship.
Yep.
Well, after this week, you can take the white gloves off then when all the inspections are
That's
over.
exactly right. This is a white glove week, and you get your candy on your pillow at the Tuscarawas County Jail and things like that. So.
Orvis, thank you so much for being in and getting us updated. It always makes me feel safe and good to know that you're watching over everybody.
Well, I appreciate that, Brad. Good to be here.
Orvis Campbell, the Tuscarawas County Sheriff, this morning on our 8:30 high beam here on the BT Morning Show.